Like a little bit of pink right under the nose for the gums would go a long way, just a little bit. You see, I would do that, Reaps. The reason I don't, say, I don't know if you know this. I don't know how much of a fucking art buff you are. So the reason I don't, and you can kind of see what I'm getting at when I have the tans in here. If you squint at this, the color palette I'm using is monochromatic, meaning it uses a single color. And granted, there's like different shades of blue, sure, but it's all different shades of the same color, meaning it's like a blue, like a teal, like an electric blue, an off gray blue, like a like metal blue. They're all different kinds of blue, right? If I start throwing in reds, yellows, oranges into this, it's going to mess the entire color palette up, and your eyes are going to immediately fixate onto that color. I don't know if it's doing anything to you guys. For me, my eyes are definitely drawn more to the tans of the guns, and then to the brightest blue, which is the eyes and the mouth. That is just how the human eye works. It goes for things that stand out more, which in this case are the brighter colors like the blues, the tans, and the whites. The blacks and the darker blues kind of back off a little bit in the human eye if you squint at it. So that's why I'm not using yellows, reds, or oranges, or anything that's like super different from the rest of the palette. I don't want to detract from the rest of what's going on. The guns are fine being tan because that's such a pivotal part of like the channel. The ACR, that's my main rifle. That's okay that it draws attention away from it. You immediately go somewhere else. Maybe a slight purple. I could play with purples. Let me pull up a color wheel here to help kind of better illustrate a little bit. So if you look here, this is kind of where we're operating in the color spectrum, is in this section here. Purple is way up here. Purple is pushing into red. Same sort of issue. If you go into like bluish purples, like a violet, violets could potentially work, and I can play with it. If you really want me to, I can. But when you're operating in this spectrum, you want to see even up here, they implemented it into Photoshop. If you're going monochromatic, these are the color ranges that you want to stick to, along with grays, whites, and blacks. Gray, white, black always works with everything because those are just midtones. Those aren't colors. Those are just their own thing. But when you're doing something monochromatic, you want to see that. So, yeah. So I'll probably keep it black, but, I mean, if you want me to play with it really quick, I can. Just to, see if it works. Yeah, save that there. Let me erase out that black. It won't take me very long to replace it if I end up changing my mind for any particular reason. What is that attached to? Oh, that's... Never mind. We're good. So, where are you attached to? Hold on. Oh, you. Okay. Do that. And keep in mind, that's all you see of the gums as well, because I added in the jowls that cover up most of the gum line, because if the wolf head is looking down at you like this, you're not going to see a lot of the gum line. That's where I fucked up before, and that's why it didn't look right. It's because I had too much of the gums showing in the first place. But, just to humor your question here, just for a moment, because, want to see. So if I go right above here, and we'll swap off the black to, say, the most purple I would go would probably be somewhere in this range, probably. Probably like right here is the most purple I would go, like an indigo or a violet sort of color. So let's just see how that looks. Let's see if that detracts some or not. Yeah, shit. So, it doesn't necessarily detract a whole lot, but it also doesn't add a whole lot either, because from a distance, you really can't tell it's there, and in a way, at least personally, I think, having it be completely black, maybe this is just me, I think that makes the teeth and the mouth pop more, having that just be completely black. Maybe that's just me, but I think it does. matters more on the top than it does on the bottom, because the bottom lip having definition is next to nothing for the wolf face, but finding where the upper lip, bottom nose ends does actually do something for the face. Yeah, which I do get. So let's say do that, Control D, and then fill this section down here black, and leave that top one purple. Again, I don't know how much that really adds, because you see, again, you see so little of the gums up there anyway. I don't know how much the purple adds. I still think the black, though, making it completely black, maybe, again, it might just be a me thing, but I think making it completely black gives more presence to the teeth and the mouth a little more. Maybe that's just me, but I don't know. Say if you go there, say it doesn't add a whole lot. If anything, it almost gets drowned out. Like if you squint at it, it almost drowns out into that the steel blue that's behind the wolf head, so it almost makes it look like there's a hole going through it. Maybe a darker gray, but not a black. I could try a darker gray. Let me try the same dark gray that we're using for the dark of the fur, maybe? Actually, no, we'll go a little bit darker than that, because otherwise it'll make it look like this here is part of the mouth. So let's go just a little, let's go one more shade darker. Let's see how that looks. So it's clearly a different shade of gray there. I think it kind of helps a little bit. I think I definitely like that more than the purple. The purple just makes it kind of poke through into the steel blue a little bit, but I think that works. It does give this a little more presence, and it does, again, like you were saying, it kind of helps define that lip a little more. So, we can leave it. I don't mind that. Because if you look at it from a distance, it's definitely a darker shade of gray. You can definitely tell if you squint at it. It's not the same shade as the shadowing on the fur, but it's also not messing with this like it was when it was purple. So I think that's fine. That's acceptable. And then leaving that black is fine because it's immiscible. It's not really worth anything. But this one, that does help a little bit. We'll leave it. Good call there, Reaps. This one. This. Okay, hold on. Okay. Back to Adis. Okay. One second. I'm gonna go to a different brush. Let me get... Hold on, that's the brush settings. I want the actual brushes, please. Give me... Which one are we currently using? Give me that one. I think this is the one I want. It's the one I was just using. That's the one I was just using. God damn you. Where is... There we go. That's the one I want. This is the brush whenever I'm doing hair on like humans, like people. This is the brush I use for a lot of detail work in the hair, because it does give a very flowy sort of hair vibe, because you can get really sharp angles out of it. I'm an art nerd, but I do know my shapes. Well, that's good, I suppose. One angry puppis. Angry little fella. Fucking hit on my mic. Good job, me. You are so smart. SMRT. Redo that. It is better. It is a little bit better. Do this at a weird angle for my hand. But I wonder if going up a shade would work. Some of these wrinkle shadings, some angles, the fur would appear less dense. Yeah. See, and you're getting ahead of me here, good sir. But I am going to do that. Don't worry. We're not going to keep it just one shade for all of the shadowing on the fur. You jumped ahead of me just a little bit. But don't worry. We're going to get to it. We're going to get to it. We're doing the base shadow work, and then we'll go in and kind of darken things up as it's needed. But I want to... The reason I'm not doing that is because I don't want to get caught up in too much detail, if that makes sense. Because again, you got to keep in mind, this is going to be a really, really small logo. When you look at it from like the viewer's perspective. So adding in all that detail work, is it worth it? Maybe, if you're actually looking at it this close, but from the viewer's perspective, how much is it really going to matter having all that stuff in there? That's the thing you got to kind of keep in mind with some of this stuff. Like, sure, I could go in and just get super hardcore into like the nitty gritty stuff, but also, how much is it ultimately going to matter? Does play a factor, just a little bit. Because at some point, you have to, when you're working on a project like this, at some point you have to put it down. So you can't get too caught up in all the little things, otherwise you'll never actually be done with it. Granted, you're never really done with anything. You just get to a point where it's like, okay, now I feel okay putting this out somewhere or using this in some fashion. But that's the other thing too. So I could sit here and just work on this forever and ever and ever and ever and ever, always adding something different, but... Oh, flag philosophy. This logo design? Well, because it's not a flag. That's the other reason too. I want it to look cool. I want it to look nice. Which is why flag philosophy is not really getting used on this one. That's part of my own ego to a certain degree, if you will. If you will allow me. don't know that we need those little ones there. I don't think we do. I don't know that really adds anything. Let me just pull those really quick. I get rid of those. They do a little bit. Yeah. Very similar. But again, I'm making it look nice because I know at some point in the future you guys are going to want patches or you're going to want this or that. So I want it to look nice for you guys to a certain degree, not just for my own vanity. Just because I know you goobers, and I know that some of you have been asking for when this gets done, you want certain things done with it. So I'm also keeping that in mind to a certain degree as well. So ultimately, it comes down to money. Okay. Money. Said every politician ever. Money. Should run for office. That'd be hilarious. Would you guys vote for me if I ran for office? LWA for president? Well, Reaps, you could because, you know, you're in Canada, but you could try. I wouldn't stop you. And there's problem number one as to why I shouldn't. There you go. Reason number one not to vote for LWA for president. He'll let someone who's not the United States do so. Also, if you watch any of his streams, he's kind of a bumbling idiot. He's a moron. I would press the red button just for funsies. Because I want to know what it do. Even if I already know the answer. I want to see what it do. Let me push the button. Let me do it. Let the man push the button. Just, you know, for giggles. Kind of? Question mark? Did I say something that... I don't know. I don't know what that's in reference to, Reaps. I've already forgotten. Even though it's something that I clearly said that made you say that. I already forgot what it was, so... Sorry. Again, reason number two why I should not be allowed to push the big red button. If I ever actually run for office, not that I think I'd ever want to, just use this stream right now as evidence as why I shouldn't, and you'll win. There you go. You're welcome. I think that looks pretty good there. I think that's looking pretty good. Kind of a bumbling idiot. Okay, there you go. Yep. Exactly. See, that's my point. There's too many ways that someone could, you know, bring something up that I completely forgot about. And I'd be screwed. I do think this is looking pretty decent here. I think we're looking pretty good on our base shadow work here. I think so. think we're good to start blending this a little bit. I want to do... Actually, before I start blending stuff, let's start adding in some of like the dark shadows. I'm going to use the same gray that we used for the gums here. Just going to steal, excuse me, what? See, that's what I don't get with this new shit. Okay, it's easy to just do that, goddamn. Jesus. Jesus. Okay, so this... We'll add in our darkest shadows. Shut the fuck up. I'm not trying to use that. Our darks here. We will throw into some of this stuff back here. Gonna swap brushes again. Nope, that's not the one I want. Go back to this one. Nope, that's not the one I want. Which one? Which one? This one. There we go. I don't know why, I just like this one a lot. This brush is a mess. This one will just fill in like that. Do the same thing here on this one. And if I really want to start getting like real technical with some of this stuff, I could even start throwing opacities and stuff onto it. I don't think it's necessary. I don't think I need to, but if I really wanted to, I could really start getting into the minutia with opacities and shit and get really into this stuff. Kind of like I do for character art, but there's no need for that, so I'm not gonna mess with it. Won't mess with opacities for right now, because there's no need. Not yet, anyway. I don't know that any of this stuff in here needs like dark shadows. I think that's fine. A lot of this is going to be just base shadows kind of playing off each other with the base color of the fur. Do a little bit. Most of the dark shadows are going to be on this side where the light source is the furthest away. So we'll just focus on this side and then go from there. Down here, definitely need a little bit in here. It's shadowed in 2 different spots. I know some of this stuff is looking a little flat, and if you're not picking up what I mean by that, when I say flat, I mean like it's just looking very, like, it's not blended in, it's just kind of on top of one another. But we will blend this all in after we get it all laid in. There's no point in blending every single thing as soon as you put it down. There's really no need for it, so better to put it all down and then blend afterwards, because blending, in my opinion, doesn't take that long once you have everything set in first. I know people who will blend as they go, and I mean, that's fine if you want to do it that way, but for me personally, I think it's a lot simpler to throw everything in and then blend afterwards. Far easier, in my opinion. But I have met people that like to do it in between, which is fine. I'm not saying that they can't live their life the way they want to. If they want to do things incorrectly, then let them. That's fine. I kid, by the way. I kid. Don't hurt me. It does indeed look like it has no ass. Did I ask that? I don't remember. If that's not like me being sarcastic. I don't remember if I asked if it had an ass, but okay. I'm not going to disagree with that statement, because I don't think I can. It does, in fact, not have an ass. This is true. In fact, I would say that's painfully true, in fact. I mean, hard to disagree with it. Trying to explain that what you meant by when you said it was. Oh, I see. Okay. That's what you're getting at. Again, a joke that just went way over my head, was not understanding it. So, again, egg on my old face here. Reeves, you are too cunning of a man for me to ever understand anything you say. You're just too intelligent. That's my problem. Or I'm too dumb. Either one. Whichever one you prefer, I suppose. This guy down here is probably the only one on this side that's going to need this treatment. Just because he's underneath two layers. He's underneath a shadowed layer and a non-shadowed layer. He could probably use one. I think that's going to be it on that side. Oh, this one probably could. Yeah, this one can probably use one. A little bit of a darker section there. Other than that, though, I think that side's not really going to get a whole lot going on. This one up here is going to get completely shadowed. That. And we'll throw in some darks down all the way at the bottom here, just to help distinguish those two sections of floof a little more. And we'll do the same thing on this one, again, just to help distinguish a little bit. Not because we have to, just because I feel like it. Okay. And now it's time to decide if we want to blend or not. I'm gonna mess with it. Why not both? Again, you lost me, Reeps. I was not paying attention to what prompted you to say that, so I apologize. But you did in fact lose me there. You're asking why not, if I'm to predict why not, what you meant by why not both. If you're talking about this one and this one, if that's what you mean. This one I shade because it's behind that. This one is still going to get a little bit of light, just a little bit, from being directly behind to non-shadowed. So the light's going to bounce off of this and bounce off of this, making it not like the darkest thing. This one, though, is directly behind that in terms of layering. And it is getting shadowed by two different pieces, that's why. LWA so cheap you can't even pay attention. You're goddamn right. Don't forget it. I can't pay attention regardless, so it's not a matter of cheap or not. I just can't pay attention. Don't you ever say otherwise. I do think that's looking pretty good, though. I think now we just have to decide if we want to blend this bad boy or not, and then we have the eyes, the mouth, and the teeth to do, and then we'll do the shading on the outside roundel, and then I don't know if I want to shade the ACRs or not, kind of determine that on time and all that. Have I considered Adderall? Hell no, absolutely not. I want everyone to suffer from my inability to pay attention just as much as I suffer from it, okay? I'm not being alone in that fight. Hell no. If I've got to fight my own attention, so do you. It's like vying for ad space on a commercial. If everyone has to fight for ad space, everyone has to fight for ad space. There is no way that someone gets off on that at the expense of everyone else. Hell no. Absolutely not. What are you talking about, you fool? Wait, can I not blur? What? Oh, no, yeah, I can. I'm not selected on anything, that's why I couldn't. Derp. Let's see. Blur. Smudge the shit out of this stuff. Let's see. Is that going to be worth, or is that going to make it look too smooth? Let us observe here. Does that make it look smooth or not? I think it does, unfortunately. I think that makes it look too smooth. Oh, shit. Didn't mean to do that. Son of a bitch. But hey, you know what? It looks better now than it did the first time, so I'll take it. Yeah, I don't know, honestly, that it's going to be worth blending all this. I kind of like it just being cel-shaded to a certain degree. I don't necessarily mind that. Let me try blurring some of this stuff and see if it's worth it there. I think the problem I'm going to run into if I start blending this the way that I normally blend things, it's going to make, instead of it looking like fur, it's going to start looking like skin. Like it's going to be too smooth, which I don't really want. Let's just see here. I do blend this. I don't actually hate that. Actually, what I'm going to do here, let me unblend that. I will make multiple layers. So that way, if I don't end up liking the blurred look of this, I can simply go back to the old version rather than having to go all in on one. That'll be easier. Alright, let's try this. Let's just blur it, blend it all up, and see how I like it afterwards. Is it blurring? Oh, I don't have the one. I know why. Turn that off. Whoops. Yeah. I didn't turn the other layer off, so it's going to keep that solid line there, because I'm a goober. I'll turn that one off. Hold on. There we go. I think smoothing it out is probably going to end up looking better here. I'm not going to lie. It's already looking pretty decent, so. Keeping the harsh line of the black line that we did, and then blurring the actual shadows, I think is going to look nice, so. I think we are just fine blending all this. Oh shit. My bad. Sorry. See, in there, you're getting rid of a lot of the imperfections there, and they just kind of blend out. So that's why I wasn't too concerned with a lot of this area being completely perfect, because you lose some of it anyway. Not that big a deal. And I could just use, Adobe does have like a blur feature where you can just blur an entire layer, but then it's the problem there is with the actual blur, like blending brush that I'm using, it gives you a little more control, a little more fine point to blur something a little more or a little less. No, excuse me. The burps. More or a little less depending on the situation rather than it just being all one uniform blur across the entire layer that you're attached to. So that's why I don't just do it that way and do it in like 2 clicks and it's done. I don't want it to be all just uniform garbo. No need for that. Spent all this time doing all these individual lines, I might as well blend them all out on their own such that they actually work how I intended them to. So I had to zoom out to go to another area and I hadn't finished this one. Like a goobus. Like a fool. think I left. Yeah, I did. I did leave some spots down here as well, like a dingus. So we will fix it. That. This one still needs a little bit of blur, and this guy needs a little bit of blur. And I think that's all on that side. Now we can jump over to the other side. Oh no, this one right here. Bottom lip needs a little bit. Right. Just a little bit. Hold on. What are you attached to, you little shit? Ah, I see. I have made a mistake. Oops. Yeah, I'm not sure how I feel about this new system they're going after. Definitely a little quicker, I'll give it that. Don't know that it was necessary. Seems a little weird, if you ask me. When are we in on Doom? What is this? Oh, the Foundry. Okay, that's why it's a little quiet. Got it. Wondering, it's like, we haven't had any, like, the hard-hitting stuff here. That's because we're on the quieter sections of the soundtrack. Got it. Fair. Okay, the next one is Blood and Gore, which that one's going to be a nice one to listen to. I don't know about you guys, I really like the Doom music myself. Although I know some people find it a little hard to focus to. Which, you know, fair. But also, how dare you? There is no better pump-up jams than the Doom music. Mick Gordon is a saint. You cannot convince me otherwise. Blending is definitely helping with this. Definitely. It's making it seem a lot smoother, but It's not a bad thing necessarily. I was worried it was going to make it look too smooth, but since I'm being gentle with the blending I'm doing, it's not ruining it necessarily. At least I don't think it is. I mean, we'll definitely figure it out once I look at this from a distance, but from where I am right now, don't think it's messing with it that much. I think it's just kind of helping to unify the whole thing, which is really what it's about. Okay, I think that's all of the spots there. Now we just need to blend out the darks, I think. See, if I go from that to this, it's not a whole lot of difference, but it's definitely just enough to make a little bit go on. Just a little bit. And then, yeah, so we don't have a lot to blend out on this. And then we can go on to the other stuff, and then we're almost done. I want to overblend this stuff though. You gotta be careful with the really dark areas. If you overblend it, you're gonna run into the problem where they stand out too much, and you don't want that. Because then that just takes you out of the piece, which is not ideal. I think that's everything though. Let me check. Is there anywhere that I missed? I don't think so. I think that's everything. Yep. That is all the blending done on the old wolf head. I don't think that looks too shabby, personally. That looks pretty good. So, there we go. Now we just got to do the shading on the teeths, which I started to do, as you guys can see here. I started. Oh, he got no gums. He got no teeth. Well, he got gums. He got no teeth. Look, he go. I started to do the shading on here before, but I did the goof of not doing them all solid like. So, going to fill these white again. And then we will... This one, that one I did. But I want to change that color anyway, so we'll leave that there. Leave that there for now, and we will make a new layer here, and I would like a slightly more saturated color for the shadowing on the teeths. There we go. That's better. And then we will take these, darken it. I'm not going to shade that because the teeth are going to stay nice and prim and proper, if you will. I'm not going to have like the blending on that. If you need a wolf variant, just take the teeth out and it's old wolf. Old man. Yeah. If I go over here, hold on. I got it. Take that out. Well, it's still got the shadowing on the teeth, but boom. It's actually kind of interesting with just the shadowing there. It's very weird looking. It's very interesting, but let's back in. Get those chompers back in here. Say that shadowing is not a lot on the teeth, but it's just enough to be noticeable, which is nice. So, Chungus. We're going to take this, move it a little more. This way, a little more vibrant of a blue. And we're going to go on top of this. Actually, better idea. Grab that. Now we're going to do our gradient tool. We're going to pull this one. Grab that. And that. Pull these out. And then we will make a new one of these over here. Excuse me. Stay there. There's that. And then on this layer, let's see. I have. I think I need to flip-flop those. One moment. I think this needs to go there. And then there. I said there. There's a little bit going on here that we don't want. Turn that up. A bit of gapping going on, which we do not want. Okay, let's try a radial. Just for funsies. I think, hold on, before I do that, let me see what it looks like inverted on that gradient. It's going to be kind of trial and error for a minute. There we go. I do like that a little more. I like that. Yep, I like that. Alright, then we'll do the same thing up here. But we're going to do a slightly different gradient on these bad boys. Then we are going to let me just look here what we got going on. Let me try this gradient without the white in it. Move this over a little bit. Just kind of finagling with this gradient, trying to get it to work it how I'm wanting it. I think I like that. Save that. Now we get to do kind of the same thing here, just a little different. So, with the gradient tool, we want I'm gonna save this one. New. If I ever have to go back to it, I can. And then we're gonna pull this guy. That. Grab that. And we're gonna go with this, but just a touch darker. With a circular. Oh. This one. Piece. I'm going to do a very basic gradient on this one. Mainly what we're going to try to do is 80, 95. This one needs to be 5. This one needs to be 20. And then one right at the center. Perfect. That will be that color. This one will be that color. This one will be that color. And this one will be that color, but lighter. There's an easier way to do that. Pull that. That at 20. Drag this one over here. 80. I said 80, you bitch. This guy. Make a new layer. Shit. My bad. So that looks more like a piece of metal, which is kind of nice. So it's got some shiny stuff going on it, which is nice. Very good. Very sort of like a metallic-y sort of look. And if we want to make that look even more interesting, you take this, rotate it 90 degrees, and you can lower down the opacity on that one. You get even more dynamics, but I think it was fine as is. Yeah. But I think when you put another layer on there, it just makes it look kind of meh. So, there's that one. Black is going to stay solid. Yeah, I think we're pretty close to being done here. I just need to, on all these bevels, need to go in and actually bevel them. Could be, pull this over here. 1 second. Bevel these bad boys. See, I have a little thing over here that lets me do them real easy like. Oh, shit. You can see there, that's the little bit of a bevel going on there. go inner. Yeah, inner's fine. You can see the more I do this, you can kind of see what I'm talking about with the beveling there. Makes it look more like a point. Flatten it out. Soften it. Make it look a little nicer. I should be able to just copy over. Once I have this done on one, it should be able to do it on the others, which will be nice. There's one other thing that I will do to the actual wolf head before we're done. But I think that's good there. Let me just apply these effects. I'm pretty sure I can apply that to all of them this way. Yep, I can. It should keep to all of them. Do that. And boom. Boom. Eat shit. Shut up. No, I clicked it one too many times. Shush. Silence yourself, fool. Here we go. So, here we go. It's not too bad looking, I don't think. The one last thing I might play with here is on these. Oh, not you. You. Oh, I locked it. That's right. I forgot. I locked down the letters. We might play with the letters a little bit. Let me try to throw down the shadow on those. I don't think it really needs it a whole lot. I do. The distances definitely need to come down. I think the drop shadow does actually help a little bit. Gives the lettering a little more weight, which is nice. Ah, shit. Yeah, that does. Gives it just a little more weight, which is good. There's that. Bumpus. The last thing that we can kind of play with here. Still not sure if I'm going to go in and shade the rifles or not. I probably should. They look a little odd not having any kind of shading on them. But the last thing that we're going to mess with here. Actually, we... Not that one. This one. There's a reason that I kept the underside of that. It's for this. We don't want it to be that aggressive. Calm down. I think we're just going to... I don't think we're going to do it on that. We might just do it on the eyes. It's not too wide. Look at that. Yes, I don't think we've really... We can try adding it to the mouth again. Just kind of size it down a little bit. Don't necessarily know that it needs it. I think it just looks a little odd. Mainly just because it kind of plays off the shading a little weirdly.
Oh, titties!
I don't know if the mouth needs it. I don't think the mouth needs it. I think the eyes are fine. And as many of you will know, those of you that, you know, watch my videos, the glowing effect is something that I use a lot in like thumbnails and stuff, so that just works. So I do think that is not too shabby. I think that's pretty good. So the other thing, I mean, I could mess with this, the rifles and stuff. I don't know. The rifles seem a little off-putting with everything else having like shading and stuff to them. I think the rifles do. I think they need a little something. They look a little weird without anything. One thing I can try to kind of fast track that is throwing a drop shadow. Oh no. Well, hold on. If I really jack down the distance on that, that kind of works. Kind of. Bring the opacity down just a smidge. It kind of works at a fast track to shading on that section. Kind of. It's a really lazy way to do it, and it definitely is a little odd. Don't necessarily know that it works though, so if I shade that, I'll have to actually shade those. I can't just fast track that, unfortunately. Oh dear Lord. Oh my Lord. Jesus. He's glowing. Jesus. Holy Lord. The other thing I could do is... Oh, shut up. Shush. I grab... Because all these, as you can see, they're all individual layers here. There. All that fun shit. So, what I can do... I can grab all the rifle sections, merge them, or copy them rather. Group from layers. And then duplicate the, shut up, duplicate that. Then merge the group together into one item so they're all on one thing, and then go here and then drop shadow those on there. Lower the distance a little bit. I don't necessarily know that needs it a whole lot. So putting a glow and a drop shadow on them definitely helps to unify that a little more. I just don't know that it necessarily needs it. Doesn't look right. I'm just kind of playing with things, so don't worry. Just messing with stuff, don't mind me. Let me just look at this really quick. The other thing I could try here is I don't think that did anything. At least I can't tell if it did. Oh, it's barely doing something. Holy Lord. Barely. Oh, that's weird. Weird. Very strange. Yeah, I don't know that an inner shadow is really worth it, so I'm not gonna mess with it. If I do an inner glow, maybe? Try an inner glow. Nah, that's not really worth it either. Got a lot of finagling to get that done. But yeah, I think I might go and mess with the rifles themselves at some point. I mean, you could just have it like this, and it would be, you know, acceptable. But the rifles definitely help a lot. At least I think so. It adds a little more personality, since that's kind of the main staple of the channel, is that particular rifle. But yeah, I think that's not too bad. Let me try adding a glow. Ooh, I kind of like that. Hold on a minute. Hold up. Let me grab. That. I say come down a little bit. Keeping that spread minimal. Well, it needs that though. Actually, hold on. Other than that, let's try an inner. I had to go barrel down versus up. The main reason is in a lot of my videos, if I'm not like actively shooting, my gun is typically aimed down. That's why I don't normally put up to a high ready a whole lot. That's the main reason why. Just a little bit of continuity there. That's the main reason. Say pointing the barrels up would also be, you know, acceptable. But I think it just looks a little nicer pointed down. Plus, if I were to hang them, like if I had two ACRs, God forbid, and I hung them up like in a cross, I would probably have them facing muzzle down rather than muzzle up. Uh, just myself, but no other reason really. That's kind of it. Let me mess with the size on those just a little bit. I think that's a good size, personally. So I'd have to fill some of that in. As you can tell, there's gaps there. So I might play around with the size a little bit in my own time of these fillers. Just a little bit. to kind of take up a little more. Say you can see there's if I take these out, there is another spur behind there. So there is 5 in total for a total of 10. No particular reason why there's 10. It's just symmetric that way. But the stocks of the rifles are blocking it, so kind of hard to tell. And there's no need to bevel that one. I mean, I could. There's really no reason to, though, if it's getting blocked. I think that's not looking too bad, personally. So, I think that's looking pretty good. So, anyone out there have any inputs here? Yeah, I'll mess with this off stream a little more before it becomes official, but I think this is pretty much where it's going to be in terms of the main section here. So for those of you that are here, you guys have a nice early look at the V2 logo. But like I said, I'll play with this a lot in my spare time personally, so one thing I might kind of mess with a little bit here, just while I'm sitting here. I do inner glow. Your shadow's not going to do anything for me there, I don't think. Like it? Cool. Okay. Say it's definitely an upgrade from the original. The original, like I said, I made a rather long time ago now, almost 2 years ago, when I did not have as much art, especially digital art experience under my belt. I wasn't as confident in my own abilities, and quite frankly, it showed. So this is something that's needed to be done for a little bit. So I figured I might as well do it on stream for you guys. So again, like I don't know exactly when this will finally debut on the channel, but obviously you guys will know. One thing I also might mess with is the size of the wolf head. I'm not sure if I want it that small. I might make it just a little bit bigger. It's kind of hard to do it right now because all the layers are separated, but I'll merge them all together and play with them. So, like I said, this is not the final product. You guys will see that when it's actually like done. I'll mess with it over the next couple of weeks or so, kind of nail it down. But this is basically what's going to look like when it's all said and done. All the shading, all the nice little touches here and there. So, I think this is a good spot to leave it myself. Which does bring us to the next thing. I'm actually going to go to the bathroom here. We got another... Probably go for a little bit here. But let me do swapsies here. We will swap off to something else.